talk about the draft. So there's been rumors of Chicago potentially trading the number one pick. Other people are saying they're trading Justin Fields. I think it's starting to lean a little more towards trading Justin Fields. And with that being said, the whole thing with Caleb Williams not wanting to play in Chicago, who are they taking? Jaden Daniels' stock is starting to move up. I don't know if he's
you're not wanting him in Chicago.
But the thing is, if Caleb Williams doesn't want to go play in Chicago, as he's made it pretty much well known, if you're Chicago, are you still drafting him, or are you going to take a chance on somebody else for the number one pick?
Caleb Williams is saying that because he likes Justin Fields and he doesn't want to come for his job. But if Chicago makes that decision by the time they go interview Caleb Williams in Indianapolis and they walk out that meeting and say, hey, we're going to make you the number one pick, that's a lifetime of opportunity that you just can't pass up. And at that point, it's nothing you did or said. That's an organization choosing to move on from Fields. And Fields will have mutual respect for Williams, I feel like. But if he's going to really hold out and not want to play for Chicago, kind of like Eli Manning did, it's just going to continue to get messier in Chicago. And if you're exploring the idea, that just shows that you don't really believe in Fields as your guy.
That's true.
You just got to cut the cord at this point, I think.
What are y'all doing? Are you cutting them, or are you sticking with them?
He's a cheap backup, by the way. You could keep them both.
I'd stick with him as your starter, and I think here's why. I think he's your quarterback going forward. What Chicago needs is receivers. I mean, let's be real. They have nobody. I mean, you couldn't name 3 receivers on their starting core to save your life. I mean, that's part of the issue. And
I know who it is, but I can't remember his name.
Darnell Mooney.
DJ Moore.
We got DJ Moore. I don't know if
Darnell Mooney's going
counts,
away,
but he's one. And you probably got some no-namer.
Tyler Scott.
That guy.
The problem is they need a receiver. I honestly, as much as I hate to say it, Marvin Harrison Jr. might be the first overall pick.
So if I'm Chicago, I'm sticking with Justin Fields for one more year, and I'm trading that number one pick to like a.
Well, they do have the luxury of 2 top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think
there's quarterback. If they go Williams, they could just get either like Neighbors or Dunze at 8 or 9.
It's such a deep wide receiver draft. I mean, taking Harrison number 1 overall, to me, would be doing a disservice. I would trade back and acquire another first-round pick.
I think you could get Harrison at 3 or 4.
But if you don't, you could still get a Dunze or
Harrison will likely go to the Cardinals if he goes there to 3 because they need some help.
If I'm Chicago, I'm trying to make a trade with Arizona.
Wherever they are. Whatever the hell the
I would
draft
try.
is.
I mean, I think if you're Chicago, I think you try to trade. You keep the number 1 pick. This is the only scenario that you would ever trade Justin Fields, I think. Justin Fields potentially would go for this. You trade him to the Patriots.
No.
You trade him to New England. They have now 3 top 10. Chicago has 3 top 10 picks in the first round. And I mean, that's
pick though.
Huh?
It's like even worth a first rounder.
No, I don't think you get a first rounder with them. I think the only way they're getting another top 10.
I mean, if you need a wide receiver, then why don't you just trade them for a wide receiver?
I think if you could get the Patriots to give up the 3rd pick plus whatever else to move back to 3, then maybe you consider keeping Fields and taking Harrison Jr.
Yeah,
I think you've got a good chance to. So Washington is 2, right?
And Patriots they're going 3. Quarterback.
Both of them are going quarterback. I think Arizona's. I don't know, but maybe you could trade with Arizona you trade your number 1 pick with Arizona potentially, and if you're sitting at 4, you still feel comfortable that Marvin Harrison is sitting there at number 4, and like you mentioned, Dunze and Malik Neighbors also shortly after him, and then you take all that draft capital and you build around Justin Fields because Justin Fields is a good quarterback when he's in the right system. He doesn't have the playmakers around him, so you get enough draft capital to build around young stars, young wide receivers, maybe beef up that O-line. Get a running back for a change.
Well, they
just
have
one.
Him.
Yeah,
but a supporting core doesn't do anything if you don't believe at the quarterback
That-
in the core.
Right. So I think you can show belief by trading away that number 1 pick and building around him. Say, Justin, you got 2 years, and then it's done. Because that end of 2 years is when he's going to be looking for a contract extension.
Yep.
And then by then you have some really good young talent to give to the next guy. I mean, I'm here for it. I just feel like if they do their due diligence and they think that Williams is a generational talent, they'll put all feelings for Fields aside, and I think they have to go get him.
Yeah, I don't
think-
think you're getting a first-round pick for him, but maybe a second or a third.
I think speaking of Justin Fields, stay on the Ohio State train as much as I want to get off at the nearest exit.
Bill O'Brien did.
Yeah, he did.
Mhm.
Probably a wise
Should-
choice. He was catching a lot of slack. But I think my team to watch for the draft is going to be the Houston Texans. I really am curious how they approach the draft because for the first time in franchise history, they actually have an offensive player to build their system around. And I feel like this is when they go and they can get a lot of offensive weapons. Like their defense is good. Like offensively, I think they could be even better. And
oh my gosh, imagine if they get Brock Bowers in that offense.
they've saved a lot of draft capital over the years. I mean, they have just stacked up draft picks. So they have a lot available to them to go out and do. And they ain't trading anybody. I don't think they're going to trade anybody. They're just going to go out and get absolute dogs
Bowers
for
would be
rookies.
because who's their tight end right now?
Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bowers.
I don't think he
all-
slipped
Nah,
that
Chiefs
far,
are
though.
trading it all to trade up and get back.
Oh my gosh.
My
Kelsey
God.
2.0. Of course, we'll continue to talk draft, combine, all that stuff as it happens in the offseason.